Alright guys, we are back in the garden here with Snowy, and as you guys know, I've got a pretty decent sized garden and food forest to look after. But over the last couple of months, I've completely left it alone and I wasn't able to do any work in here at all. But of course, that doesn't just mean the garden stops. It keeps pushing through with or without me in some good ways, some not so good ways. So that's what we're gonna look at today. We're gonna wander around, see what's been happening, what's been growing. There's some cool fruits as well to check out along the way. And for anyone new here, this was all bare land around 5 to 6 years ago. It's all getting pretty out of control now, so why did I abandon my garden?
You're a cutie.
Well, the first reason you guys will already know is that I went to Sumatra, and I did bring you guys along for that in several videos, so I hope you guys have enjoyed that so far. And there is another reason as well. Once I got back from overseas, I ended up having nose surgery to fix some long-term breathing issues. And it was quite a full-on surgery where afterwards I wasn't able to bend down or bend forward at all, which you kind of need to do if you're gardening. But even doing the standing up stuff like pruning trees, I wasn't able to do because of the risk of getting hit in the face with a branch. I kind of just had to leave things alone and let myself heal.
Who's a little cutie?
But the awesome thing about food forests and any gardens that have perennial plants, you know, the ones that come back year after year, is that there's always going to be times in life where you're not able to garden for whatever reason, and those plants are going to be there with or without you, producing food and ready to harvest at different times throughout the year. For example, all winter long I've had access to as much cardoon as I could possibly eat, and it may not be my first choice, but it is a nice homegrown option to have for some meals. Same goes for these beautiful purple artichokes. These just come up year after year. All I did was plant them 3 years ago, and each year I get a bunch of artichokes. These particular ones I'm probably not going to eat. They've gone a bit far anyway, but I've left them here by my driveway because there's such a beautiful entry display, and the bees love the flowers as well. When they open up, they're such a beautiful bright blue color and are usually just completely full of bumblebees. Even things like these rhubarb plants I haven't done anything with for a couple of years, and they're just chilling, growing a lot more rhubarb here. So beautiful, nice red color. It's a great plant to have. Excuse the raspberry plant growing up the middle. This walking stick kale is a perennial plant that's always here. You can eat the leaves just like regular kale, and yes, you can make a walking stick from it as well. You can grow them from cuttings pretty easily, so I probably should grow one so it grows up nice and straight. This one's been smashed by the wind, so the stems are all kind of wonky and twisted. No good for a walking stick, this particular plant, but hopefully I won't be needing one anytime soon. But at least I know I can grow one if the time comes. And when I wander around, there's also plenty of herbs. Pineapple sage, spicy oregano, thyme, marjoram, fennel that just smells so good that I want to bury my face in it. And even plants like this beautiful lavender that's encroaching on this path here. I don't know if you can even tell that this is a path anymore, but it is. But we'll get more onto the craziness of the food for us in just a moment. First, I want to show you some of the cool fruits that are ripe. You might remember a while ago I showed you my Cherimoya tree, which was flowering for the first time. Well, I didn't do any hand pollination, which can be beneficial for getting the fruit to set, because I just wanted to see how it would do on its own, and it did produce a few fruits. However, maybe it would have produced more had I done the hand pollination. Anyway, I've just seen that this one has fallen off on its own, and it's better if you can pick them before they do that. And you kind of want to just make sure that they are going this sort of brownish color when you eat them. That's when they're more ripe. And the problem is that if you let them fall off on their own, it leaves this whole center exposed. And I did see that there were a few ants down in there, but what a cool looking fruit. It's like a dragon's egg or something. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it looks so juicy. Yeah, so if I had picked it earlier, wouldn't have this kind of bit that we now need to cut out, but that's all good. It actually looks very, very nice. Leave that for the ants. Isn't that so beautiful? What a cool looking fruit. I can't believe I grew this. And oh my gosh, it has such a tropical, delicious, rich smell. Here goes, let's have a taste. Excuse the seeds. Oh my gosh. I just ate some skin, but it's fine. That's like custardy, it's like a little bit lemony, but like really rich. Lemon cheesecake maybe. Oh my God. I wish I'd give you a bit. This is so yum. I can't get over that, guys. That just grew in my garden, like out of the ground. How? What is life? Over the winter, the citrus have been fruiting really well, including some cool new ones. So let's go around, do a bit of a harvest and give them a try. So first up, I've got 3 different types of grapefruit, and I feel like these are such an underrated fruit, especially these ones here, which are called Cutler's Red. And these are a variety that was selected here in New Zealand. There we go, they've got a beautiful orangey coloured flesh. These are one of my favourite citrus out there. Then we've got another sort of classic New Zealand variety. This is called Golden Special. They're usually bigger than this. I just ate all the big ones first. So there's only a couple of small ones left on the tree. This one here is a Star Ruby grapefruit. You can see the skin looks quite different. It has a bit of a pink blush sort of through it as well. This is the first one on that tree. I haven't even tried it yet, so let's have a look. Feels like it could have been riper. Look at that. So it does have that pink blush in the middle. It's quite hard, and the pith is quite thick as well. So maybe it could have had longer. Let's give this one a try. Oh, they're so good. They're still tangy, but I feel like they're a lot sweeter than probably a lot of the grapefruits people are used to, but they still have a nice tang. And in comparison to this Golden Special here, more tangy. Still very nice, still sweet, but I feel like not as sweet as the Cutler's Red. I quite like eating them though. Oh my God, so good. And then the Star Ruby. And this tree took a lot longer to get established compared to the other ones. They are more cold sensitive. The fruit seems quite rigid and hard. Such a different flavour. These have that more sort of pink grapefruit flavour, which is, you know, a bit more floral or a little bit different to these types. I'm still glad I'm growing all these. Oh my gosh. Hello, big boy. Where's your girls? Here they are. Still glad I'm growing all these different types though, because it gives you just a bit of different flavour. Let me harvest this. There we go. How cool is that? What a crazy looking fruit. This is one of the strangest citrus that you'll see, the Buddha's hand. Instead of having juicy flesh on the inside, it's made up almost entirely of rind. But that rind smells incredible. It's full of essential oils, and it's strong enough to scent an entire room for weeks. These are actually an ancient citron, so one of the original ancestors of modern lemons. And in parts of Asia, it's considered to be a symbol of happiness and good fortune. So I feel pretty lucky that I've grown this. And these fingers here are said to resemble the hands of a Buddha offering a blessing. So that's a lot of fingers. And although you can't really eat these fresh, you can candy them or infuse them into vodkas or syrups, or just use them as a beautiful decoration and air freshener in your home. This is the first time this tree is fruiting. This is called Calamondin, also known as calamansi. And the fruits are often used in Southeast Asian cuisine, particularly in the Philippines. And they're quite small little citrus, and they have a sweet and tangy flavor. And because they're a cross between a mandarin and a kumquat, just like kumquats, they have that really thin, edible skin. So you can just like peel the skin off and eat that if you want. But they're good in drinks, like just squeezing the juice in there, or you can put it into marinades, or yeah, like I say, use it in cooking. So there you go. That's quite a small little one there. I'll try it just as the whole fruit. Oh, it's pretty sour. Oh. Similar to the calamansi are these limequats, and you can see them here. They've got also a very thin skin that's edible and a powerfully sour inside. So they're great for cooking with, and also quite good in drinks. I quite like how they're just a small size, so if you're just having a single drink, then you don't have to cut open a whole lime. And yeah, they're quite cool. And I was thinking, since I've got a lot of elderflowers starting to flower at the moment, that maybe I'll make an elderflower limequat cordial. I reckon that'd be quite a nice, refreshing summer drink. Oh, so sour on its own. Have a look at this absolutely beautiful citrus tree. It's covered in these fruits still, and it's now flowering as well. It's covered in these flowers, ready for another season of fruits coming next winter. These are Tangelo Seminole. They're very good juicing fruit and also for fresh eating as well. But I want to show you some of these alongside another fruit that I'm very excited to try. So let's go through and grab some. This is the fruit I want to show you. It's a bit of a weird one, but there is a particular reason that I'm growing it. It's a Vaniglia Sanguino, also translates to blood vanilla. So it's an acidless orange, and I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. Ooh, look at that. So it's got that pinkish tinge to the flesh, pinky orange. Let's see. It's so strange. Like, it's the texture of an orange and everything, but it just doesn't taste like a citrus fruit really. It's almost like rose watery or something. The flavour it's bizarre because you're expecting, you know, a bit of acid when you're eating a citrus fruit. The thing I want to do with both of these fruits is juice them and mix the juice together, because the Tangelo produces quite a tangy, punchy juice. It is very nice, but it can be quite overpowering. And this would just kind of mellow it out a little bit while also giving you some other interesting flavour notes within it. Here we go. Oh my gosh, that's so good. That's definitely a winner. Balances the juice perfectly, makes the best orange juice. Oh, I'm stoked with that. That's, that's awesome. And a quick mention about Meyer lemon trees. These are just such reliable producers, and there's so many fruits on here despite it being a relatively small tree. I'll probably end up juicing a whole bunch of these and then freezing the juice into ice cube trays, and that way I have access to fresh lemon and lime juice all through the summer. And lastly, for the citrus, I can't forget to show you these trees, which are my absolute favorites. These look a bit like lemons, but they're called lemonades. They're much sweeter, and I just love eating these fresh. I usually just chuck a couple in my pocket when I go for a walk with the dogs and peel them while we're walking and just munch them fresh. Now back in the food forest, and with so many plants doing well and producing fruits, what is there actually to take care of in here? Well, much of what needs doing is a lot of pruning. So I've got plants here like these tree lucerne or Tagasasti, and this one here, Tithonia diversifolia or Mexican sunflower. And these aren't planted here for me to eat or anything, they're not edible plants. I grow them to help my other plants thrive. One of the things they do is produce really good shelter for my more cold sensitive plants in the wintertime. I let them grow up and create a bit of a canopy, and then plants underneath like tomatillos and like these red pineapples and Davidson plums can kind of stay tucked away in the wintertime away from the frost. And then as it's now spring and going into summer, they need a bit more sunlight to go down into them so they can thrive. So by chopping these all back, that's going to let the light in, and anything I do chop off these, I can lay down on the ground as some really good biomass that's going to feed the soil life, act as a nice mulch as well, and keep in a lot more moisture over the summer months when it does get a lot drier in here. Lots of benefits to this type of stuff. It's just keeping on top of the maintenance is important so that you don't get a too shaded area where your fruit trees can't thrive. For example, this Tithonia here, if we dig in deep within it, you can see there's this poor little orange tree that's getting crowded out, and it is actually thriving. It's covered in flowers in there and looking really good, but if we don't cut this back pretty soon and clear space for this, it's gonna not be very good for this tree. Another part of maintaining these areas is just removing weeds. Some patches don't need much at all because the plants I've put in have created a good ground cover, basically a living mulch like this nasturtium. And there are some areas that I haven't done very well with, like this one here, which is an absolute mess. There's mostly buttercup, which is one of my most hated weeds. And then there's even some thistles in here somehow. But this used to be an area where I had raspberries growing, and I ended up removing the raspberries from this area and moving them elsewhere. And this was just mulch. But just remember that weeds can kind of tell you what your garden needs if you really think about it. This was an area with just mulch, and through the winter it would have got quite wet and stayed wet, and that's the conditions that buttercup thrive in. They like really moist soils, and they also like sunlight and open ground. Whereas if I had other plants growing in here, not only would they use some of that ground moisture so it's not as boggy in here, but also they'll shade out the other plants like they've done in the other areas of my food forest. Unfortunately, this isn't an area that I have a lot of time for right now, so I'm just going to cover it with a thick layer of cardboard and weigh that down with some of these big cardoon leaves, and that will at least kind of stop the weeds from getting worse for now until I have time to deal with it properly. But in terms of some of the weedy areas, I have hired some help, so let me introduce you to them. So, here you go, chickies. So yeah, this area through here was like all weedy It was originally just part of the grass, but I hadn't mown it for ages. So I ended up building this fence here for the chickens and letting them into this area. And so every day I just feed them in a different area and they dig around into the weeds, dig it all up, and they should turn it back to, well, get rid of the weeds basically. Win-win situation. Chickens get a nice new area to play in and I get some help. And it's quite rewarding for me to see as well, because a bunch of these chickens were rescued off like a battery chicken farm where they were just held by themselves in a tiny little cage for 18 months of their lives. And after that point, usually they're slaughtered because their egg production goes down. But yeah, these little guys here were rescued from there, and it's now been another 3 years or so, so they're probably over 5 years old now and have enjoyed years of freedom out here with a nice social group, getting to explore new areas, scratching around, eating worms and bugs and whatever else. So yeah, it's really rewarding. Over the next few months, there's quite a lot to look forward to in terms of what's going to be fruiting. Like these macadamias, which are fruiting for the first time, and it's cool to see the flowers. They're really beautiful, and yeah, I can't wait to try some of my own macadamia nuts. And same goes for my walnut tree, which actually surprised me. I thought I was going to have to wait a few more years. And just before we continue, for those of you who want a bit of extra content from me, like a closer look at what I'm growing, quick how-tos, and seeing some of the more unusual stuff growing in the food forest, like that one which has this cool little fruit here, then I've just started a Patreon community. It's where I'll post bonus content and behind the scenes stuff, and it's also a way that you can help support me to continue creating these bigger videos over here on YouTube. As for these little fruits, they're called tropical apricots, but they're not apricots, and they're not exactly tropical either. They're a weird little thing, especially the taste. You'd be surprised. I've actually filmed a quick tasting and info video all about these fruits and put it up on my Patreon as a free post, so you can watch that without even signing up. And while you're there, if you do want to sign up, then I really look forward to welcoming you into the group and building a nice community there. So thank you so much. Go check the video out after you see this one and see my honest reaction of this fruit. Trying to hold a straight face. There's lots more of my seed-grown peach trees that are producing fruits this year too, plus probably another season of so many feijoas that I don't know what to do with them all. And you guys haven't seen these trees in a while, so I'll look at doing a video about them at some point because these are such great trees. They are flowering right now, so remember you can eat the flower petals as well, but just a few though, because the birds will help to pollinate the flowers as they also nibble on the flower petals. Also, does anyone have any suggestions on what I should do with a ton of Limequats? They're all ripening up now, and yeah, I need to figure out what to do with them all. So as well as the work I need to do in the food forest, I'm also working on putting in my summer veggie gardens, and this is the last one to clear out. As you can see, everything is going to seed, and these lettuces, I'll probably leave a couple of them in to go to seed anyway. They can just spread their seeds out into the veggie garden and they'll just pop up when the conditions are right. But yeah, there's some beautiful flowers here, some chives. Just thought I'd show you guys because I thought it looked beautiful before it ends up getting cleared out. I feel like there's still so much more to show you guys, but we will leave it there for now, and there'll be more videos coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to go through and pick some strawberries in here. There's actually quite a lot in here, but I do need to cover it with some bird netting. So thank you guys so much for joining me and hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one. Strawbs, so good.